Hello and welcome to my little talk on 3D printing and licensing, Creative Commons licenses. A lot of people, when they first get started with 3D printing, especially if they want to do it to make some money, have questions or they're just uninformed about licensing in general. So Creative Commons is the most common licensing that we use. All of the major STL sites and file sites use it, and it's good to know. So there are a few major things here. The most important one, if you're trying to make money, is to look for NC, or this little symbol, a $ symbol with a cross through it. That means non-commercial. You cannot gain money or value. Let me say that again, or value from that print. So what that means is you can print it for personal use. You could print it for your kids. You could print it and give it to a coworker, as long as you're not gaining value from that. Things that you cannot do, print it and sell it for money. Or if you want to kind of skirt that rule a little bit, you cannot include it as a free gift with an order. That is still commercial. You can't do that. Another gray area you should probably avoid. Let's just say that you have a long-term business acquaintance, somebody who works for somebody else. You've placed orders back and forth. You've kind of built up a little bit of a friendship. So it might be okay to give it to them as a gift with nothing in return, no expectation of value. But the fact that you've done business regularly for a long time puts that in a major gray area, and you could get in trouble for it. So I would just stay clear of that. So the good news, if the licensing does not say non-commercial, you're good to go. You can make money off of that, but there are some other hoops you might have to jump through. And one of them is up here, the BY, and it looks like a little person. A lot of times they have these little like infographic symbols. That means that if you're going to use it and do something, even if I want to just make a social media post showing, hey, I printed this cool thing, that means you have to give attribution to them. Credit must be given to the creator. So somewhere in your video, in your description, you need to say, hey, this is a design by whoever, to meet that requirement. It's really easy to do, so do it. Another thing we see quite often is share alike, this SA, and it's like a little loop with an arrow. On sites, you'll see remixes. You might see a file, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. And then there might be a section for remixes that other people have taken that, altered it in one way or another, and reposted it. If it's share alike, that is okay, but you must release yours under the same licensing as the original. So for example, if there is one that is non-commercial, but also share alike, you can't alter it and then offer it commercially. That's a no-go. Now, if the original creator does not want anybody to remix it, they want their original creation out there as is and unaltered, that's where we get this ND, no derivatives. That means you can't remix it, you can't alter it and repost your version of it. And the one with the absolute most freedom of all, public domain. Public domain means you can do whatever you want with it. You can remix it, you can sell it. You aren't stuck selling the prints, you can sell the files. Literally anything that you want to do with that file licensing wise, it's open. It belongs to everybody. So let's check out some real world examples. Over on Cults 3D, let's just take a look at these little fidgety articulated cows. They look pretty cute. So right here listed licensing Cults PU. Cults PU means private use. That means that you can print it for yourself, you can share images and stuff like that. You are not allowed to do anything commercial. You can't distribute, you can't modify them and resell them. Now, this one is licensed under Cults instead of Creative Commons because it's a paid file. So they just want to clarify that the same licensing holds true if you purchase it versus free. But even for free designs, non-commercial use, we see that CC BY NC. We just saw that over here, CC BY NC. So that means that you must give credit to the creator if you're going to show it to anybody, not sell it, but even show it, and only non-commercial uses of the work are permitted. Now, although this file shows that it's personal use only, oftentimes if you scroll down, you can see that they will offer a different license through Patreon or another way. So if we go to their Patreon, we can see that you can join. They have different tiers, and usually right here, the second one, this tier acts as a commercial license. So if you like their designs and you want to subscribe to them on Patreon, you can join this for $11 a month, and there you go. You can sell your prints of it. Let's check out a site that has mostly free stuff available. Now, I have seen a variety of license through Printables and through MakerWorld and stuff like that, but let's just go to one of their design contests. There's one in here that I know is a specific one. I've printed them myself. So, numbers, same height, same value. Let's take a look at this. On Printables, if you scroll down a little bit, again, we have licensing, and this design, these numbers are licensed under public domain. So if you like this design, you could download it, print your own, and sell them all you want. You can sell the prints, not necessarily the digital files, but in this case, public domain, you could even sell the files if you wanted to. You can see it also states that you can share without attribution, so you don't even have to tell where the file came from if you don't want to, although it is still pretty nice, because oftentimes on sites like this, the more people who go here and download it and like it, they get points that they can use for stuff, so that they at least get something for offering this for free to people, which is pretty nice. It doesn't cost you anything. So then let's look at this other one, a calculator. Looks pretty cool. We're going to scroll down and we see that you can remix this. You can't share it without attribution, and you cannot sell this commercially. It's all right here. And again, those are those little logos that we saw on the Creative Commons site. Now let's just say, theoretically, in a case like this, if you really like this design and you really want to make it available to other people who do homeschooling, and you want to recoup some of the money, you can't just print 100 of them out of pocket, so you want to recoup some of that. That's a commercial use, but you could potentially reach out to this maker. You could go to King Tut, you could send them a message and say, hey, I was thinking about selling these at the local flea market. I was thinking about selling these to people in the homeschooling community, whatever it is, and ask them if you can sell them. Oftentimes, they might just say yes. Now, they probably wouldn't if they're already selling it themselves, and that's a major source of income for them. But from what I've found, if a designer doesn't already have a path to selling commercially, so let me take a step back. If they had on their page, hey, you could support me through Patreon and get a commercial license, go do that. But if that's not on there, if that's not available to you, then go ahead and send them a message and ask, hey, this is what I want to do with it. I'd like to, recoup my costs. I'd like to make a little money. Is that okay with you? And they could give you a license to be able to sell prints of that design. So don't be afraid to at least ask. The worst they can say is no. And them saying no is a hell of a lot better than you doing it anyway, getting caught, and then number one, being a piece of trash, number two, the community coming after you, and number three, legal trouble. So let's just check one more site real quick. ThingyVerse. This was like the first premier site with all sorts of different designs on it that I ever found, and it's still going strong. Oh, a section. So this was updated. So under commercial use right here, it says this model is not available for commercial use under the Creative Commons thing below. Therefore, I'm selling the upgraded model with additional detailing and license for commercial use. If you want to sell my model commercially, please check my Cult or Etsy. So right there, a path to sell that commercially. But let's find another example. Interesting. This looks very, very much like MacGyver's octopus. And down here, it has share alike and give attribution. So right there, Creative Commons attribution, share alike. It doesn't say non-commercial. So according to this page, and this is another thing I need to mention, according to this page, you could download this, you could print a whole bunch of them, you could put up a storefront, but in your description somewhere you would have to say this design, this file came from Davis County Library or something like that. You'd have to give attribution. You could also alter this and share alike, so share it under the same license. Again, you still have to give attribution for that, but you could take this, alter it, re-release it under the same licensing, and you're good to go. Now, it does look like these have more legs than MacGyver's, but it's not terribly uncommon for somebody to wrongfully take somebody else's design and put it on one of these sites, and that's a bummer because you could still get in trouble for it. So it's a good idea to do just a little bit of investigating. Like if you're going to be making money off of these prints, you need to do your due diligence, look around, just see if it's available anywhere else, see if you can find an original creator, see if they're offering commercial licenses through another site. So I usually check ThingyVerse, I go to Cult, I go to Printables, I go to MakerWorld, and just see what's there. Oftentimes you might find they have a new version somewhere and it's still under a license that you could sell. So there are reasons to do that. But let's just check, because I actually ran into this morning. Okay, so this is MacGyver, the first person I know of who designed this octopus. It does look a little bit different from this, but as you can see, the eyes are that same sort of rainbowy shape. That's a very common thing that MacGyver does. This has those same sort of eyes, but they are different. So I'm wondering if they use this as very strong inspiration and basically copied it as close as they could, but still created their own. So I would personally stay away from this one in trying to sell it, just because I know that, but at the same time, you probably wouldn't get in trouble for something like that. They would get in trouble for something like that. But hey, I'm not a lawyer. None of this is legal advice. This is just kind of the industry, a little bit of extra knowledge that I've learned along the way. Now, the reason I made this video today, I've been thinking about it for a really long time, but I just got a Creality K2 Plus and I was looking around on the Creality Cloud site and I saw this. So this Mexin seems to like to steal designs that they don't have licenses to be able to do that with, because this stingray actually came from STLFlix. This is Ray the manta ray, and they even stole not just the manta ray itself, but that little rock thing that it sits on also. So over here, you can see they have the manta ray, it's identical, and they have the little rock thing that it sits on. So this user basically stole this file from STLFlix and reposted it here. And that's not the only one they did it on. Now, I've actually reported a few of their different things. They stopped showing up for me. I think they're still available to other people, but I'm wondering if Creality just kind of does that. If you report something, it hides it from you so you feel better. But two other things that this user had up there that were not theirs. They had this fish, little clownfish keychain thing as part of a collection that they had. They also had this snake wine bottle holder that was stolen from STLFlix. So it gets kind of complicated. If somebody steals a design from somewhere, uploads it somewhere else under a different license, maybe it is a commercially available license and that's all you find, then you get it and you start printing them and selling them. The person who reposted it should get in trouble, but at the end of the day, you're still selling an item that is non-commercially licensed. So that's why we all need to do our due diligence. We need to try to follow these rules. If you see something that you know is not theirs, go ahead and report it. You know, if it all checks out and it's all good, that will get figured out. But people who repost things under licenses that they shouldn't, that needs to stop. So we may as well all do what we can. It just takes a couple minutes to report something usually. And one example on here is I would go to report. I already reported it, so it won't let me. Let's just say I'm going to report this one. They probably stole that too. So you report, it asks you why. I go down to infringement. I describe, hey, this was from, this other site. That's the legit one. I put in the link here. I take a picture of it on the other site, attach it, and submit. And that's it. It takes a minute or two, and hopefully, because one major issue and one thing that really pisses me off is this person isn't just offering it for free. They are benefiting from this. These are some kind of currency on the Creality Cloud site that they're benefiting from stealing other people's stuff. And that's just not cool. So there's our little chat about different kinds of licensing, what to look out for if you want to sell 3D prints, what to kind of stay away from, and we as a community really need to follow these and uphold these rules. Otherwise, it's just going to be a big, messy, wild, wild west. So thanks for watching and have a good one.